Good morning. Happy Tuesday. And I had something. I found something. I'm going to put on my little Irish shawl this morning because as I'm writing book two, the sequel to Release of the Witch, of course, I'm researching and learning more and more about stuff in Ireland. And I'm feeling very Irish today. And I found a story. It's a mystery. It's an Irish mystery, but it's a true tale of Bridget Cleary. It was one of the most infamous of the period. It happened on March 1895. She was 26 years old, and she was from County Tipperary. Well, she fell real ill, and the doctors diagnosed it as a bronchial catarrh. But her husband, Michael Cleary, he didn't believe that. He was convinced, and several family members were convinced, that she had become a changeling, that the fairies had taken her and she had become a changeling. So for the next several days, in the little small cottage they lived in, they did some terrible stuff. To get the fairy to reveal itself, she was subjected to some gross rituals. They forced her to drink herbal concoctions, bathed her in urine, and held her over an open hearth fire while demanding the fairy's name. Then, on the night of March 15th, Michael Cleary, he got enraged when his wife would not properly answer his questions. He threw her to the ground, forced her to eat bread, dousing her clothing in kerosene before setting her on fire in front of all these people, in front of witnesses. So, of course, Bridget died from the burns. Michael and his accomplices buried her body in a shallow grave across field away. When the police discovered her days later, the news shocked the society and ignited an international media frenzy. Well, the legal outcomes, the trial was in July 1895. And 9 people were convicted. But because the defendants adamantly argued the fairy defense, meaning they only intended to banish a changeling rather than kill Bridget, the court downgraded the charges. Okay. So, Michael Cleary, the husband, he got 20 years penal servitude. He only served 15. Patrick Kennedy, the cousin, who was part of the wounding and he helped bury her, he got 5 years penal servitude. The neighbor, who also was part of the wounding and he suggested that they burn her, he got 3 years penal servitude. The cousins, James and William Kennedy, who held her over the fire, got 18 months hard labor. Michael Kennedy, a cousin who was present but had a lesser role, he got 6 months hard labor. Her father, who was also present and coerced, he said, he was released due to his age and his grief. Mary Kennedy, the aunt, who was also present, was discharged due to her age. And a neighbor, William Ahern, he was also there and watched. He had the charges dropped. So, after Michael Cleary served his 15 years in prison, he was released in 1910 and moved to Liverpool before permanently moving to Montreal, Canada, where he vanished from public record. The cousins and all of them, the extended family, they just returned to rural Tipperary life and back out in the county, and it said they were a local stigma though, so probably didn't have such a great time. And Bridget Cleary was ultimately abandoned by her family in death. They were terrified of scandal and the supernatural superstition, so no one claimed her body. She was buried in secret at night by the local police constables in an unmarked grave just outside the walls of Clonian churchyard. You believe that? So, you think they really believed it was fairies? Or were they just murdering nutcases? I don't know. Maybe they really did believe she was a changeling. Maybe. Maybe the husband just wanted to get rid of her. And he talked everybody else into believing it. That is the mystery. And we'll talk more later. I'll see what else I find out.